tonight's news, Foreign and Expatriate Minister Nasser Judeh delivers an invitation from His Majesty to the Lebanese President to attend the Arab Summit meeting convening in Jordan in March. Iraqi forces open safe passages for civilians to leave Mithaq in eastern Mosul as the army pushes deeper into the eastern districts to retake Daesh's last major stronghold. The U.S. Congress begins a new session after new senators and members of the House of Representatives are sworn in to lay plans for enacting U.S.-elect Donald Trump's agenda. Good evening and welcome to tonight's news. His Majesty the King telephoned Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan, offering his sympathies over the loss of lives and injuries sustained by scores of people in the New Year's Eve terror attack in Istanbul. His Majesty denounced the heinous terrorist act, reiterating Jordan's committed stance with Turkey in its war against terrorism and the criminal gangs that threatened world peace and stability. His Majesty also wished the injured a speedy recovery. Meanwhile, new information emerged on the gunman of the Istanbul nightclub attack that killed 39 people on New Year's Day. A Turkish newspaper stated the gunman, a member of Daesh group and who remains at large, appeared to have been well versed in guerrilla warfare and may have trained in Syria. The newspaper added that police investigations revealed the terrorist had entered Turkey from Syria and went to the central city of Konya in November, traveling with his wife and 2 children so as not to attract attention. A selfie video of the suspected attacker apparently walking around Istanbul's central Taksim Square was broadcast by Turkish news channels. He is believed to be of Kyrgyz origin. A Turkish government spokesman said authorities were close to fully identifying the gunman after gathering fingerprints and information on his appearance and have already detained 8 people. The attack claimed the lives of 39 people of different nationalities, including Jordanians, and injured scores more, as it was estimated the gunman had fired at least 180 bullets. Foreign and Expatriate Affairs Minister Nasser Judeh in Lebanon to deliver His Majesty's invitation for the Arab Summit meeting that will convene in Jordan in March was received by President Michel Aoun in Babda. In his invitation letter to the summit, His Majesty said he looked forward to Aoun's participation, especially in light of ongoing regional developments and joint Arab efforts to fight terror groups. King Abdullah also said he's confident Lebanon will be able to bolster its national unity and successfully confront regional challenges following recent favorable developments. Aoun expressed his condolences over the killing of 3 Jordanians in the New Year's Eve terror attack in Istanbul, in which 3 Lebanese citizens also lost their lives. Separately, Judeh met with Prime Minister Saad al-Hariri and congratulated him on forming a new government. He also met with Speaker of the Lower House of Parliament, Nabih Berri, and discussed with him bilateral ties and mutual challenges in light of the Syria crisis. Iraqi forces opened safe passages for civilians to leave Mithaq in eastern Mosul as they push deeper into the eastern districts to retake Daesh's last major stronghold. Hundreds of thousands of civilians have been displaced from Mosul so far. But despite being pushed back, the terrorists have continued to launch deadly bomb attacks in other parts of the country. Though the second phase of the campaign launched last week has pushed Daesh out of several more areas in eastern Mosul, Iraqi forces have yet to enter the west. Here's more.
The soundtrack of Mosul. Families all too aware of what they're running from. Hundreds of residents are fleeing Iraq's second city as the second phase of an army offensive to retake it from Islamic State is underway. Those that make it out alive are taken to camps. They're stories of those that didn't.
Only the lucky ones get out and are free. There are some who manage to cross over, others who are caught. There are some who are forced back, some who are stabbed. It depends on your luck.
Life under the militants is deadly. Many talk about what happens if the rules are broken. This man explains you'd be slaughtered for having a phone battery or a SIM card and forced to pay fines and interrogated for having cigarettes. With the operation in its third month, a growing number of people are escaping from the besieged West, still controlled by Islamic State. More than 114,000 civilians have been displaced from the city. They'll tell you they're the lucky ones. 1.5 million are still thought to be inside.
Elsewhere in Iraq, Daesh terrorists wearing suicide vests attacked 2 police stations in Samarra, north of Baghdad, late yesterday, killing at least 7 policemen. Samarra's mayor said security forces had regained control, killing at least 6 assailants, but declined to comment on the number of casualties on the government side. Daesh also claimed responsibility for the killing 24 people in a car bombing in Baghdad's Sadr city district. On the 5th day of a ceasefire in Syria, the Observatory for Human Rights reported airstrikes on a building used by the Jabhat Fath al-Sham group, formerly known as the Nusra Front in Idlib province. The observatory said the attack left at least 25 people killed and dozens wounded. It was not known whether the strikes were carried out by Russian aircraft or by the US-led coalition. The ceasefire brokered by Russia and Turkey excludes Daesh and Jabhat Fath al-Sham. Turkey's Prime Minister Binali Yildirim says he expects the new U.S. administration to halt supplying weapons to the Syrian Kurdish YPG militia, saying the administration of President Barack Obama was responsible for such weapon supply. In a speech to Parliament, he said the United States should not allow the strategic partnership with Turkey to be overshadowed by a terrorist organization. The YPG militia is a key partner for the United States in fighting Daesh. The lower house of parliament has postponed a vote of confidence in the Minister of Interior, Salami Hamad, in response to a government request. A no-confidence motion directed at Hamad in light of recent terror attacks in Karak was to take place in today's parliament session. Under Clause 2 of Article 53 of the Constitution, a vote of confidence or no confidence may be postponed once for a maximum of 10 days if requested by the Cabinet. Antonio Guterres, who replaced Ban Ki-moon as the United Nations Secretary General, began his first day at work laying a wreath at the UN headquarters in New York to honor fallen peacekeepers. The former Portuguese Prime Minister was unanimously appointed on October 13th as the 9th Secretary General of the World Body for 5 years, beginning the 1st of this month. Guterres was also High Commissioner for Refugees from 2005 to 2015. In a New Year's message yesterday, Guterres asked the world's citizens, governments and leaders to join him in making one shared resolution, which was to put peace first and overcome all differences.
From solidarity and compassion in our daily lives, to dialogue and respect across political divides, from ceasefires on the battlefield, to compromise at the negotiating table to reach political solutions. Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
The U.S. Congress began a new session after new senators and members of the House of Representatives were sworn in today. The Republican-led Congress was to start laying plans for enacting President-elect Donald Trump's agenda of cutting taxes, repealing Obamacare, and rolling back financial and environmental regulations. Since his election on November 8th, Trump has made clear he wants to move swiftly to enact proposals he outlined during the campaign, such as simplifying the tax code, slashing corporate tax rates, and repealing and replacing Obama's signature health insurance program known as Obamacare. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has said his top priorities for the new Congress were dealing with what he described as massive overregulation and making changes in the tax code to stop companies from moving jobs out of the country. The first of 2 bald eagle eggs that have been watched by millions of people online hatched in Fort Myers, Florida. The bald eagle parents, named Harriet and M15, have been patiently waiting for the first eaglet to break out of its shell after pipping began Thursday with the first cracks in the shell. The pipping process can take between 24 to 48 hours. The Eagle camera has had 60 million views and routinely has over 60,000 people watching the live stream. The bald eagle almost disappeared from the United States decades ago, but habitat protection and the banning of the pesticides DDT led to its recovery. The bird was removed from the federal endangered species list in 2007. The United States swept to a 3-love win over Spain in the Hopman Cup in Perth, Australia, as players gear up for the Australian Open. 25-year-old Coco Van de Weeg put the U.S. into the lead by defeating Lara Arruabarrena 6-2, 6-4. Jack Sock then faced a tough test against Feliciano Lopez. The Spaniard managed to take the first set, but Sock showed fighting spirit to win the next 2 sets and defeat Lopez 3-6, 6-2, 6-3. The mixed doubles was a formality with the U.S. holding an unassailable 2-love lead. The Arruabarrena-Lopez pairing took a set in the doubles, but were eventually beaten by the Sock Van de Weeg team 4-3. A 105-year-old Frenchman is hoping to break his own world record cycling for the most number of kilometers under 1 hour in the over 100s category, which entered the World Book Records when he was 102. Robert Marchand first set a record when he was 100 years old for his age category when he rode 24 kilometers under 1 hour. When he turned 102, he rode 10% faster and set the current record of 27 kilometers. Big crowds are expected to cheer him on tomorrow. And finally, chilly weather continues for the rest of tonight, while frosty conditions are expected in most regions after midnight, including in the northern Jordan Valley. Similar conditions prevail across the kingdom tomorrow, with partly cloudy skies and a slight chance for rain in the northern regions. The Gulf of Aqaba can continue to expect fair conditions tomorrow, with northerly moderate winds and calm seas. Next are the lows and highs for tonight and tomorrow. A quick recap of our top stories. Foreign and Expatriate Minister Nasser Joude delivers an invitation from His Majesty to the Lebanese President to attend the Arab Summit meeting convening in Jordan in March. Iraqi forces open safe passages for civilians to leave Mithaq in eastern Mosul as the army pushes deeper into the eastern districts to retake Daesh's last major stronghold. The U.S. Congress begins a new session after new senators and members of the House of Representatives are sworn in to lay plans for enacting U.S.-elect Donald Trump's agenda. With this, we come to the end of the news. I'm Dana Abusham. Thanks for watching and have a good night.